In this movie, we'll embark on a real-world project that's uniquely suited to static transformations, namely this star logo, which, by the way, is inspired by the old United Pixel Workers logo, which actually looks like this, but they had a star version of it as well. And so we're going to start things off in this movie by first scaling these primitive shapes over here on the left-hand side of the screen, and then uniting them to create these two custom shapes over here on the right side of the screen. And so the first step is to go up to the File menu and choose New from Template, and then I'll go ahead and load that Center Guides template by double-clicking on it. And next what we want to do is select the Ellipse tool, which you can get from the Shape Tool flyout menu. And notice if you went ahead and modified your keyboard shortcuts back in Chapter 11 of the Fundamentals course, that you have a shortcut now of Shift-M to complement the Rectangle tool's M. In any case, I'll go ahead and select that tool, and then I'll move my cursor over the intersection of the two guidelines, and I'll Alt or Option click in order to create this shape from the center outward. And I came up with these values right here, both the width and height of 30 points each, at which point I'll go ahead and click OK to create that shape. Now, I could create another shape at that location, but these live shape widgets are getting in the way. And incidentally, you don't need to leave them there. You can turn off the live shape widgets anytime you like by going up here to the control handle and notice this icon right there, Hide Shape Widgets. If you click on it, those shape widgets will go away for all the live shape tools, which include, by the way, not only the rectangle tool, the ellipse tool, and the polygon tool these days, but also the line segment tool. In any event, I'm not going to work that way. I'm just going to go ahead and turn these guys back on by clicking on that same icon. And instead, I'm going to create additional ellipses using the Scale tool. So I'll go ahead and grab the Scale tool, which again, you can get by pressing the S key. And then I'll press the Enter key or the Return key on the Mac to bring up the Scale dialog box. And I came up with a uniform value of 500%, which is going to create a shape that measures 5 times 30 by 30 points. Or 150 points. At which point, I'll go ahead and click the Copy button, or you can press Alt-Enter on the PC or Option-Return on the Mac to create a copy. Now, it doesn't look like I have a copy, and that's because the original shape is hidden in the background. And so I'll just go ahead and press and hold the Control key or the Command key on the Mac in order to get my last used arrow tool on the fly, which in my case is the black arrow, and then I'll just go ahead and marquee these shapes like so. And I'll go up here to the Control panel, and I'll change the fill to nothing. That way I can see both shapes. And I'm going to go ahead and take the line weight up to 3 points, like so. All right, now I just want to select the outer shape. And so I'll once again press the Control key or the Command key on the Mac in order to get the black arrow on the fly. And I'll add the Shift key and then click on this middle shape. So that's a Control-Shift click here on the PC or a Command-Shift click on the Mac so that just the outer shape is selected. And then when I release the Control or Command key, I return to my Scale tool, at which point I'll go ahead and press Enter or Return to once again bring up the Scale dialog box, and I will change the uniform value to 140%. And then I'll once again click on the Copy button in order to create a copy of that shape. All right, now I want to create a fourth ellipse, but I want to make it based on this middle one right here. It's just the easiest way to work. So I'll go ahead and Control or Command click on that guy once again. And I will again press the Enter key or the Return key on the Mac to bring up the Scale dialog box. And this time I'll change this value to 220%. And in case you're wondering where I'm getting these values, I'm just doing the math. 220% times the diameter of that middle circle, which was 150 points, gets us a 330 point diameter, at which point I'll go ahead and click Copy in order to create that shape. And so the idea here is that the distance between these two circles is the same as the distance between these two. And I can demonstrate that by drawing a couple of rectangles, which I'll create using, of course, the Rectangle tool. And if you're working along with me, make sure that your Smart Guides are turned on, which they are not for me, so I'll go ahead and turn them on. And then I'm going to drag up like so until the heads-up display shows a width of 60, and I ultimately want a height value here of 225 points. And I ultimately came up with these values, of course, through trial and error and a little bit of reverse engineering for your benefit. All right, now I'm going to press the V key to return to the black arrow tool, and I'll go ahead and drag this guy by one of its bottom corner handles until it snaps into alignment with this circle right here. And I'll go ahead and press the Alt key or the Option key on the Mac so that I'm creating a copy of this shape. All right, now we need to draw some shorter rectangles on the other side, and I'll do that by once again switching to the rectangle tool, and I'll drag up and over like so, and you can see, once again, I have a width of 60 points, so everything's in parity. But I want a height value, if I can get it, of 90 points, like so, and then I'll press the V key to switch back to my black arrow tool, and I'll make a duplicate of this guy by dragging him over and pressing the Alt or the Option key in order to make a copy. All right, and finally, I'll just go ahead and rename this layer Primitives, like so, and click off the shapes in order to deselect them. And that's how you create a handful of so-called primitives using a combination of the ellipse tool, couldn't be easier, as well as the rectangle tool, also very easy, combined with the power of the scale tool here inside Illustrator.